guys, prepare to get real sick of me. Hi, my name's Janet. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and on this channel we're just real. That's all I can say. We're just real here, and this is for the real bitches and the real men and the real they thems to just come and vibe and just feel good and talk about stuff that probably doesn't feel good sometimes. So basically I just want to do like a journal with me type vibe, type of aesthetic. Looked for a while, but I haven't used it. The cover got fucked up. I don't know what happened to it, but it's called the Mind Body Peace Journal by Sandra E. Johnson. I didn't even put my name in here. Like, that's how you know I have not used it. Gratitude reminds us to be like plants, which turn toward, not away from the light. So I'm gonna do this prompt here. When hard times come, we tend to magnify their importance and minimize the things that are good in our lives. Regaining balance involves recognizing all that we have to be grateful for, even things as small as a delicious cup of coffee or comfort from the warmth of sunshine. What are you grateful for today? What are you grateful for today? Why did they say it twice? Am I tripping? Why did they say it twice? But I'm gonna have to turn my way. So you guys can answer that too. What are you guys grateful for today? And that brings me to another thing. If you guys have been listening to my podcast, The Path to Imperfection, little self-plug. I did this episode where zones out. I did this episode where I was talking about self-love and how I build a relationship with myself. And one of those is that I've been journaling. I've been journaling consistently for about like 6 months or so. And usually I'll do like a format. So like every day in the morning I'll write 5 things I'm grateful for, 5 I am affirmations, 5 things I let go of, and today I will be blank. And I write 5 things. So it's 5 of each. And it's pretty simple and easy to remember, and I've just been doing that every single day, and I feel like it has changed my life tremendously. So in ways that has changed my life is I recognize what I'm grateful for. That's one. And the more that we focus on what we're grateful for, the more that we realize that there's a lot of good in this life. And I was writing in my journal the other day, and I was just freestyling, and I wrote something so beautiful, and I actually kind of want to share it. So I actually ran out of pages in my actual physical journal, so my ass has just been having like loose leaf paper on a clipboard. Hey, whatever works. But I wrote down this affirmation today just to throw this in there. I am loved beyond measure, and the universe shows me this in endless ways. And I think that's so nice. I got it from TikTok. I get everything from TikTok. I wrote like 7 pages, and 7 has been one of the numbers that have been following me around. And another self-plug, if you check out my podcast, The Path to Imperfection, I have this episode about the 7 spiritual laws of success. So go check that out. Yeah, so this year really symbolizes the number 7. And it's a beautiful thing. Not gonna lie, that flash is blinding me. But I'm gonna look directly at the camera anyway. So basically I started with, because I wrote this the 24th. I think that was yesterday. And I was just feeling pretty off yesterday, kind of in my bag, kind of in my feelings. And I try to be very transparent about how I feel, especially on my platforms, because like I stated in my podcast, I want to create like a safe environment, a safe space for people to be authentically themselves and to really embrace life. And I feel like in the media and on social media, the type of healing that's been expressed or like portrayed is very aesthetically pleasing. People like to show, the highlights of their life, the good moments of their life. And so I feel like I'm just trying to show the realness in it, and some days are gonna suck, some days are not gonna be as good as other days, but what I try to do is bring the energy back up and I really just try to show my process of working through it. Because if I can work through it, okay, me, someone who literally like did not want to be alive a year ago, if I could work through it and handle my freaking fluctuation of emotions, anybody can. Like, I'm convinced. So yeah, I just plan on showing my process of working through it, working through my trauma, working through healing, and just working through the inconveniences of life and, you know, the ups and downs of life. So that's kind of what I was talking about in my thing yesterday. I started off just talking about like setting boundaries, because me, I'm still working through like people pleasing tendencies. So for me, setting boundaries is pretty hard, and it's still something that I'm, you know, working through. And so whenever I set a boundary, I realize that it all stems from like a fear of abandonment, which is kind of deep. But you know, we all have a core childhood wound. So yeah, I've just been really doing shadow work and just really working through, okay, why do I feel this way? Why am I thinking this way? And it's not necessarily from a negative standpoint. I've been trying to really be more curious with myself. And like I said in my podcast episode about self-love, is that, you know, when you're dating someone and you're getting to know someone, you're curious about them. You're curious about what makes them them. You're curious about their life story and all these little details about them when you're getting to know them in the, you know, like in the dating process. And so why don't we extend that same type of energy towards ourselves? So that's been my main focus, is really being curious with myself and this new version of me, and just really embracing who I am and loving every process of it. And yesterday was one of those days where it was difficult, and I wish I recorded, but I was really exhausted, emotional. Let's get into the real tea here. It's not gonna be much. It's kind of really poetic. If you guys didn't know, I'm like a real life poet. Let's see. And it's tough because like I don't have a journal, so this is just kind of all over the place at the moment. So basically, I was writing when I was a child. I would sit down and ponder the philosophical nature of human existence. Why are we here? How do we get here? To do what? I always wondered. Till this day I do, but I think I've gotten closer and closer to the answer. So here it is. We're here to be human. That's literally it. Now, of course, we all have a purpose of some kind, but are we solely here to just fulfill a purpose? I don't really think so. The pages are not in order. Fulfilling a purpose is kind of like something that just happens. Kind of like some sort of side effect. Kind of like fate or destiny or whatever you want to call it. It's something that is inevitable, only if you truly want to follow that little voice within you. Some people ignore or even silence that voice, while some people nurture it. It's like a seed. You either water it or you don't. It grows or it dies. If you have faith that yes, it's a seed right now, it might not seem to be much, but with a little time, a little patience, and a shit ton of love, it'll grow into something beautiful, well then yes, it'll be a beautiful thing indeed. Some people say that life is nothing but a journey, kind of like a road trip. Whenever you take a road trip, you know it's temporary, and you know one day you'll head back home. Some road trips are longer than others. The human experience is simply a road trip. It will end someday, and we'll go back wherever home is. A road trip is supposed to be fun. That's the whole point. You're supposed to have curiosity, childlike wonder, a drive to explore and soak in all that surrounds you. This is what makes life enjoyable. This is the easy part. I find that when people ask, what is the point of all of this? It is usually due to something bad that has happened in their life. What's the point of suffering, they may ask? What's the point of experiencing a plethora of negative emotions? Why can't it all just be good all the time? Why can't we just live in a constant state of pleasure and bliss? Because, simply put, humans are complicated. Our brain is literally set up to experience pain after pleasure. But not just that, we are inherently ungrateful. We have too much good and we get bored. That explains how people can be extremely rich yet unhappy, or how someone can be in a happy, healthy relationship and still seek more. We are ungrateful beings. So what does life do? Throws us into shitty experiences to humble us. It's not punishment, just a reminder that things can get fundamentally worse at the drop of a dime. Now this isn't to ignite fear within you, but to remind you the importance of gratitude. I mean, the simple fact that we are fragile flesh blood bags that could drop dead any second in any matter, yet we are still alive in this moment is a blessing. Do people forget that the one simple thing we all have in common is that we are going to die? And on top of that, we don't know the day that this will happen. Yes, we all want to die a peaceful death in old age, surrounded by loved ones, but only a small, very small percentage of us actually experience such a fate. Many of us can die painful deaths suddenly when we least expect it. Not that I'm wishing it on any of you guys, but it's just simple statistics. So why do we soak over such minor things? Why don't more of us do what we love? There can be many answers to that, but what I think it sums up to is this: we have forgotten. We've forgotten the bigger picture. We've forgotten this is simply a road trip. Nothing more, nothing less. We may get a flat tire along the way. We may run out of gas. We may lose sight of the road entirely, but it is still a trip nonetheless. And sometimes even the worst of moments are strangely beautiful. Is my lip gloss building up? Yeah. Don't you hate that? Even the worst of moments are strangely beautiful. And I think that's extremely beautiful. The one thing that we all have in common is that we're all here temporarily. And while we are here, we all struggle, suffer, cry, grieve, laugh, smile, eat, drink, sleep, fall in love, fall out of love, feel fearful, feel excited, etc. That's why we are here, to simply feel. Because the best and worst moments in life are always felt. Being human is feeling everything, and sometimes feeling nothing. Yet one thing is certain, that nothing is truly certain. Enjoy now. Who knows what tomorrow or even an hour can bring? Nothing is guaranteed, not your friends, not your life, not your family, nothing. So hold the ones you love a little tighter, especially yourself. Don't fear that. Instead, embrace the absolute bittersweet uncertainty of this human experience. So yeah, that was just a little something. If you made it through that, congratulations. Because it was pretty long, but essentially, I really don't know how that came to me, but it happened. That's kind of how I worked through it. Yesterday, I was not feeling great. I was feeling very weird. Honestly, very weird about myself, very disconnected, just very, I don't know, not my best. And I tried to practice what I preach. Now, I don't try to be preachy, but like, it may come off as preachy, but honestly, I just see it as I'm just a human, just like you are. Maybe. Are you a human? I hope so. But I don't know. I'm just a human out here doing human things, and also things that are more in alignment with my higher self. Like, I'm also, that's another thing I was talking about yesterday, is like, I've been struggling to balance like humanly things, like getting things done, certain priority, and then also trying to balance out pursuing my goals, chasing my dreams, and also staying grounded in a spiritual sense and keeping my sanity intact, because living in this matrix is crazy, and especially with the demands of capitalism, which is just, it's draining. So like, I work full time, but then on top of that, it's like I'm also doing, like actively doing things that are pursuing my goals. So it's just been pretty exhausting, to say the least. So if you're going through something, I completely relate, and life is not easy for everyone. Like, life is hard to everyone. That's one thing that we all have in common. So the next time you feel isolated, or you feel like no one understands you, you don't even know what the next person next to you is going through, and you don't know what your neighbors are going through. You don't know who the person you just passed in the car, you don't know what they're going through. So it's like, we all have our own stories, and we're all going through stuff, but I think it's really important to remain grounded in certain practices that keep you sane, and that can look different for everyone, but I'm just sharing what keeps me sane and just how I fill my time when I'm alone. And that's another thing. I'm really in this period of being in my solitude, and at first I used to fear it like the plague, and I used to be so fucking scared, and I had attachment issues to people that were not good to me simply because I didn't want to be alone, and the thought used to terrify me. And I have this journal prompt where I'm basically talking about that, and it was sometime between October 15th to October like 26th, like so in between that range, because I didn't write like a date on the entry, but I was just saying how, you know, I was in a toxic relationship at the time, well, situationship, and I was just scared to be single, and you know, it was basically a dead end type of relationship. It was really a dead relationship, and we were just dragging it along because we both had our own things that we had to work through and stuff. Reading that entry, that was only 4 months ago, and seeing my growth and the amount of growth I've experienced since is insane to me. And I've really learned to love my solitude. I've learned to love myself, and I don't even know if you guys can hear me because it's raining mad hard. Let's hope the audio is not trash. But it's funny because ever since I left that relationship, I've just had so much more energy for myself, and I've had more drive and motivation and more passion. Like, I've had a lust for life. There's this fire that's been ignited within me again, and I just... Sorry, I'm getting a little emotional, but I'm just so happy for where I am at right now. And I'm not saying my life is perfect. My life is nowhere near perfect. But, you know, I feel like I'm just so much more connected to myself and to spirit, the universe, God, and I don't feel lonely. I don't feel lonely. I mean, there may be times when I'm like, okay, I miss like snuggling up, having a little boo thing, you know what I'm saying? Especially with this weather, it's raining. It'd be nice to like cuddle, watch a movie. But also it's like, I love myself so much now to the point where it's like, I deserve to chase after my goals. I deserve to put that energy into myself. The energy that I was giving to other people, I deserve to give it to myself. And I deserve to see what will happen if I don't give up, and see what will happen if I believe in myself. And that makes me so emotional because it's like something I've wanted to do for years, but I've been, you know, going through it, going through karmic cycles, toxic relationships. I've had to lose a whole bunch of friends. I had to build myself up back mentally, like build up myself mentally again, because I was completely torn down by the people around me, and I let that happen all because I didn't love myself fully. I was looking for external love from people that weren't even loving themselves, so they were not even capable of loving me. And for a while it took it personal, and I internalized that, and I'm like, people don't love me. I'm gonna turn up the light. But yeah, people don't love me the way that I deserve to be loved, so it must be something wrong with me. It must be my fault. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe my ass isn't fat enough. Maybe that's not even possible, baby, but like, that's just ridiculous to say. But like, I've gotten to this point where it's like I gas myself up. Like, even me saying that, I'm like, that's ridiculous. Like, of course my ass is fat. Of course I'm beautiful. I'm funny. I'm intelligent. I'm wise. I'm, you know, driven. I'm motivated. I'm just beautiful. And I wish this feeling for everyone. And even if you're not there yet, you will get there. I promise you. It'll happen in due time. Everything happens for a reason. I truly believe that, because I'm finally at that point where it's like, okay, I see why that happened. Like, I see why, you know, my ex-partner left me, right? Like, it was kind of mutual because we were not good for each other. Like, that's the thing. You can have love for someone, but you sometimes you're not good for each other. at the time with my abandonment issues, I was like, I don't care if it's bad or if it's toxic. I want this to work. And that was detrimental to my mental health and to his, because we both were outgrowing each other, and eventually you have to go two different ways. And my abandonment wounds were triggered, and I was like, don't leave me. Oh my God, I thought someone was there. Can't be too safe these days, but went through all of that, struggled mentally, and I'm so grateful that I'm not in that situation anymore. And no offense to that person, like, I will never be hateful towards anyone. Like, even if we fell off on bad terms, like, I'ma just wish you well and keep it pushing and just go about my life. So I'm glad that he left me and I'm glad that he triggered my abandonment wounds, and I'm glad that he showed me the parts of me that needed healing. Yeah, so I guess that's what I'm grateful for, right? I didn't even get to the journaling part, right? And I dropped my pen. Got it. Light back on. Today's the 25th, right? I think. Oh my God, I'm blinded by that flash, guys. What am I grateful for today? I am grateful for this community that I'm creating. And I'm grateful for the rain. So off topic. I mean, it's not off topic, it's literally raining. But I really think rain is so healing and therapeutic. It's like in the summer, I'm the happiest mentally. For many reasons, obviously. One, it's warmer out. The days are longer. I get more sun. My melanin be popping, and you know, it's just more fun. There's more activities, outdoor activities. I'm such a nature girl, so I love being outside. I love nature, and yeah, it's really cold. I don't like the cold. Oof, I'm turning the heat on. Oh, and another thing about the summer is that, like, I go to the beach a lot, and I love swimming, like just being in water. Every time I go swimming, I come out, I feel cleansed. I really feel cleansed. Like, water is one of the most healing things in this world, in this material plane. I'm grateful for, and it could be anything. Like, if you're like just now starting to write down things that you're grateful for, it may be hard at first, like, what am I grateful for? But every day I try to think of something different. You know what I mean? I'm grateful for music. I'm grateful for being who I am. I'm gonna leave it at that. And voila, I wrote like chicken scratch. I usually don't write like this, but that's what I wrote. And I also wanted to do one last thing before we close out this video. It's crazy, but the law of attraction is a thing. I really recommend checking out the 7 spiritual laws of success. Either go check out my podcast if you don't want to read the book, but if you want to read the book, it's called The 7 Laws of Success by oh my God, I don't have it with me. I think it's Deepak Chopra. I may be wrong, but I'll probably put it somewhere on the screen or in the bio. Go check that out, because this is the year where we're going to be successful, and I am really excited to see the levels of success that not only I will achieve, but you guys will achieve. And I'm just feeling really positive about this year. I have this deck. It's called the Angel Answer Oracle Cards, and I'm just going to channel the collective energy, whoever's here right now. And even if you're watching this video months after, time isn't linear, so this can apply whenever you need it, whenever you need divine guidance, whenever you see this video. I trust that it'll find you at a time where this will be in alignment with you. These are angel answers, so basically they're answers to a question, but I'll say, what does the collective need to hear right now, okay? What does the collective need to hear? We got 3 cards. We got the answer no. Okay. No. Perfect timing. And ask for help from others. Okay? And then we also have yes at the bottom of the deck. So it's a little spicy. There's yes and no. Maybe you guys are indecisive when it comes to something. and you're really balancing between, should I do it, should I not do it, should I do it, should I not do it. So I feel like the advice is ask for help from others. Sometimes I feel like we tend to feel a little isolated, and as if we are the only ones going through a certain type of struggle, or we're like the only ones that are feeling off mentally, or we're the only ones having mental health issues. But the truth is, we're never truly alone, and sometimes you just really have to ask for help from others. And that's something I'm also working on, because I grew up being very like independent, and I was kind of forced to be. So it's taking a lot for me to soften again and be vulnerable again, and really speak my truth and ask for help when I need it. So yeah, ask trusted individuals in your life for help, but we have perfect timing. So there's that. Hopefully that resonated with you. And yeah, thank you so much for sticking with me on this little journey. And it really is the start of a beautiful journey. I'm gonna read the random quote from this book called Journey to the Heart that I got from a thrift shop. And every time I go thrifting, I find a beautiful book. Like the book, the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, I found that at a thrift shop. And I also found this. So I'm just gonna read one last thing. Open your heart. Let it show you what it knows. Learn to trust what you know. You're wiser than you think. Thank you so much for watching my YouTube video, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Oh yeah, also, wait. Gotcha. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and let me know down in the comments what you think. And let me know what you're grateful for down in the comments too. And yeah, don't forget to check the link in the bio for my podcast link and for a link to the book. Thank you so much. Bye.